You find out that the person you met has zero friends and spends all their time alone at home. What is your first thought? Depends on the situation. I moved away from a state I grew up in and left all my friends behind. Not to mention I'm middle-aged, so friends kinda disappear because life happens. My ex-girlfriend kept rubbing me during the breakup about how I don't have any friends. No, I had friends. And between COVID and the gig economy, they're gone. Glad that person is your ex. Seems like beyond below the belt. Hope they're happy. I made the mistake of thinking our forever alone was for people that were happy being alone. I was wrong. Well, that was a sad turn on the internet. I lurked, gave some friendly advice, then backed away slowly. Oh man, I used to be on that sub a lot, so maybe I can offer some perspective. Some people have absolutely zero success with relationships. You can call them incels, but these are the ones who mostly aren't misogynists and instead blame themselves more than anyone else. These aren't the stereotypical neckbed basement dwellers who only wants to date hot girls into women. Mostly, for me, due to a mix of physical mental health issues, I had no relationship experience into my late 20s. You just end up in this downward spiral where you feel like a freak, almost inhuman, because nobody seems interested in you. And that causes you to be more depressed, awkward, reclusive, and makes it more difficult to talk to people. Most people in that sub severely lack self-confidence because of their lack of experience, and it's like a catch-22. I'm married now, but during those dark times just knowing I wasn't the only one in that situation was actually a big help. For some it probably just reinforces the spiral, but for me, it made me feel more human and helped motivate me to change my behavior and outlook on life. My wife and child died few years ago. My best friends from high school and college have died. I don't make new friends anymore. I ride my bike and take care of my dog and keep to myself. Edit, I didn't answer the question at all. My point was just that someone who spends their time alone might not be a bad person. Maybe it's just an easier lifestyle for them. Respect their privacy. My fiance and children died last year. Had a couple friends die and the rest weren't too fond of me deciding I didn't want to follow their path when I got engaged and cut them off. The parallels you and I share are a bit eerie. I used to ride motorcycles, have been considering getting another, and my dog is sometimes a higher priority than myself. He eats well, and that matters a lot to me. Aside from that, I live in solitude. It really depends. Are they a loner because they enjoy their own company, or because their behavior is atrocious? I'm a loner, and if the person seemed fine I'd not be bothered. Exactly. I spend my time at home because I prefer it. I get more than enough social interaction from work. I'm also a person that has zero friends and spends all my time alone at home. So my first thought would be, so I'm not the only creepy loner out there. Same. I slowly drifted from my college friends over the years, then made no effort to keep in touch during my last relationship. When that ended last year, it really hit home that I no longer have any friends. I've also come to realize it's very difficult to make friends as an adult, especially if you're not the extrovert type, which I'm not. Never too late to reach out again. I use a script I get from 6-Minute Networking, great free online course for keeping in touch. Hi Roy. Live love look full run 3 here. Haven't spoken to you in ages. I hope this finds you well. What's the latest with you? No rush on the reply if you're busy. I'd love to hear what you are up to when you get a chance. It's been amazing, and I've reconnected with so many old friends just by scrolling through old WhatsApp messages from years ago and sending this script to 3 people a day. We are so similar. We should play video games together. We are so similar. We should play video games separately. No one has zero friends when I'm around. One of us. It really depends on how our meeting went. If he was nice and cordial, I would assume it's a personal choice, or for some reason he couldn't make friends. If he was arrogant, I would think he is a cunt and no one wants to be with him. If he didn't make an impression, either answer can be right. I look in the mirror every day, lol. I'm that person. Give them a chance. Some of us have experienced depression or abuse and are this way for a reason. Some of us are trying to have friendships, but have spent so much time working and trying to survive that we put social life to the side. Some of us just like being alone. Some of us are looking for someone to help get us out and experience more. We are not bad or broken. We just have become accustomed to solitude and don't know how to live any other way. We don't want your pity, but could use some compassion. When I got out of my parents' house, I literally did not know how to have friends. My family relationships were relentless, mocking at best, and then make my therapist cry at worst. I couldn't make myself open up even a little because I had the instinct to protect myself so strong. Like, I couldn't admit to liking certain things. I couldn't talk about even small talk subjects. At my first real job, after moving out, I had a coworker who just like relentlessly worked at being my friend. It took him like a year of just constantly dealing with the way I shut down and shut people out. He found things to talk about with me and just kept inviting me to hang out. Eventually we did, and it just kept getting better. It started with small things. Like, it turns out we both like it to be cold. Maybe another few months in, I revealed I liked rock music. And a year after that, I shared my favorite albums. In the meantime, I would watch him play video games and talk to him about whatever else we could talk about. He never made fun of me or made me feel sad or pathetic. There were a few times I went full psycho and tried to ghost him because I was scared of getting close with someone like that, and picked some small thing to get pissed at him about. And every time he'd recognize what I was doing and do whatever was necessary to still be friends. One time he even showed up at my job with all my favorite foods for me at lunch because I didn't like a joke he made the night before and decided to tell him never to talk to me again. I know it sounds like toxic, but no one has ever cared that much about me. He remembered things I liked and made me a ducking care package of them, even though I was acting crazy and blowing up at him. He just never picked up and left like I was always waiting for him to. I apologized and then he never held it against me. We are still best friends and I have used that experience to be able to make other friends. I feel like I'm in a movie sometimes when we are happy and all just hanging out. I used to genuinely think moments like that were made up for, like scenes in movies. I think all the time and tell him constantly how grateful I am that he just like did all that when he didn't have to. OP. Were you expecting answers unlike the ones you're getting now? Is this your first day on Reddit? If they are anything like me, it'll be: don't drink or go to bars, not into sport, don't have kids, lives away from relatives. These things are pretty much the basis of most people's relationships. I've dated a couple people like this. Usually if things go well, I introduce them to my friends and the activities I enjoy. It hasn't always gone well. Some people are alone because they can't interact normally with the wider world. Wow. So many commented and upvoted. Maybe sometimes I don't have to be as ashamed of this loneliness in my life as I am. Some comments make me a bit teary-eyed when it expresses that maybe they would try to befriend a person like that. That is the kindest thing. May sound cheesy, but I suggest reading Oh the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. It really puts into perspective that a lot of life is alone, and you will play games against yourself that you cannot win. Makes it feel more normal. Also, it helps shift thoughts from the loneliness to focusing on what you're doing or thinking about in that loneliness. At the end of the day, it's how we go about that time of loneliness. If we wallow in it, it gets worse. If we focus on finding out more about ourselves and maximizing what you do or think about during that loneliness, for some reason, you'll start feeling less alone. I would ask them to hang out with me more. One more friend for me, and I could introduce them to my friend group. So I'm not the only one. Oh man, I had this with a friend group a while back. They were talking about a guy having no friends as a reason to not be friends with him. He invited us to his birthday party. I was like, guys, I think that just perpetuates the cycle. But they didn't really get it. No longer in that friend group, and I continue to form my own opinions about people. If that is by choice, then I respect the fact that they live just the way they want. If that is because they want and deserve to have friends, then maybe befriend them. If they are so horrible persons that everyone has a reason to not be their friends, then maybe stay away from them. 1 computer geek. 2 anxiety problems. 3 experience with other people turned out not so great, so they shy away. 4 there are lots of people like that, and they're posting on Reddit. My guy is a straight loner, like would be happy if he never saw another human again, and I'm a people person. But we have been together 11 years. He is my best friend. Our weird works. Really hard for me to reach out, even to other lonely people. If someone knows how, please tell me. Crushes downline. Sign them up for my MLM. I mean, so I can help them, right? By helping them to help other people. Barf. Fine. That's pretty much me. I spend all of my time alone, but I'm always out doing something, and I speak FO maybe 1 or 2 people. I like my hyper independent life. It depends on the reasons why he is a loner. If he is an introvert and prefers to spend time on his own, then it's fine. If he implies that everyone is stupid and he can't stand them, then my first thought would have been to run. I've been in this situation. I befriended someone, let's call her Holly, through a volunteer group, and I found out that her 40th birthday was coming up and she had 0 plans because she had no friends. I felt bad for her, so I went to my group of friends and suggested we plan a girls' night around Holly's birthday. One friend said, I don't know. I've talked to her a few times and she seems kind of nuts, but I persisted. We moved forward, and not only was the girls' night a success, but Holly became a regular member of the group. Fast forward about 6 months and this 40-year-old woman was drunk at my house, hitting on my 23-year-old son, cyber stalking my married cousin, and generally making my life miserable. No good deed goes unpunished. Be careful. I'd try to go do awesome and fun things with them for the experience. Does this person seem to have a decent personality, and do I enjoy my time with them? If the answer's a yes, then honestly I could care less about what they do with the rest of their free time. Wanna watch Evangelion? I'll tell you an honest story. I dated a girl that was always home and didn't seem to have any friends. I was a little put off and ended up breaking up with her. A short time later I realized how dumb I was. She was wonderful and my original feelings were just my own insecurity issues or need for validation. We just celebrated our 15th year of marriage and have a beautiful child together. What I'm trying to say is, if you have a problem with someone for having 0 friends, then the problem might be with yourself. Take a look in first. I'm that person. Just moved to a beach town a few months ago and there aren't many ways to socialize here. I've been staying focused on work and have made some really big moves, but damn do I get lonely and miss my friends back home. I would invite them over to cook some food and listen to some records or play video games. That's how I met my husband. He still doesn't have friends and we spend a lot of time at home together. I can't recall my first thought, but I know we became fast friends and did everything together before we even began dating. It's been great. I'm this person. 10 years ago I moved 2,000 miles to be with my wife. I spent 10 years being the most dedicated stepfather and husband I could be. Put my wife through school, helped her study into all hours of the night, put my needs on hold to further her career so we would have a comfortable future. Any extra time and money went to providing the best life possible for the children, so there wasn't time, money, or room for me to pursue hobbies or a social life. 10 years of clawing our way up and life started to get a little easier. Debts were paid off, income rose, kids got older and easier to manage. Then it happened. Last year my wife realized she was gay, and that was that. I'm now single and alone 2,000 miles from my friends and family. I have work friends, but the vast majority are married with children, so that's what their lives revolve around. I'm single with no kids. It's really hard for those two lifestyles to work together, and finding people my age without children is near impossible. It doesn't feel good being this person, and makes dating difficult. I dread being asked what are you up to this weekend, or any plans for X holiday weekend. In my hometown I had a huge social circle enveloping just about every subculture you can imagine, and made of almost every ethnicity. For the first time in my life I have no one to come to, no one to make plans with, no one go out with, and my circumstances are so rare finding someone who can understand is unlikely. Stop looking at the mirror.